بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Inshallah, we'll continue from where we stopped from our last lesson. In our last lesson, we are speaking about the types of water. We spoke about the meaning of ma al-musta'mal, and also we spoke about the concept of al-mujawir and mukhalid. So we mentioned that if water is little and something that is pure is added into it, then we have to look at the situation. Does it change the properties of the water, or it does not change? If it changes the properties of the water to such an extent we are unable to classify it as water, then we say it carries the ruling of musta'mal. And this is pertaining to mukhalid. Mukhalid is something that mixes with water. And then we have another one that is called mujawir. Mujawir is something that does not mix any with water. So if you put something into water, a solid for example, that does not mix any with water, then the water is still pure. Because the nature is that it doesn't mix any with water. But different if you put something that is mukhalid, like sugar, coffee. So this can change the properties of the water, and if the changes are severe, then water is not considered to be mutlaq. So this is the part that we were mentioning in our last lesson. The author gave the example of rose water. So he said, حِسِّيًّا كَانَ تَغَيُّرُ أَوْ تَقْدِيرِيًّا كَأَنِ اخْتَلَطَ بِالْمَاءِ مَا يُوَافِقُهُ فِي صِفَاتِهِ كَمَاءِ الْوَرْدِ الْمُنْقَطِعِ رَائِحَةِ وَالْمَاءِ الْمُسْتَعْمَلِ. The author speaks about the changes in water. Sometimes it is hissi, sometimes it is taqdiri. I also spoke about this. Hissi meaning you can see by your senses. Taqdiri, you make an estimation. If there is any rose water that has no smell, no color, no taste, if it is added into water, how do we ascertain that this water is not mutlaq or mutlaq? We have to do an estimation. This is the meaning of taqdiri. So for example, if a person puts 1 tablespoon of rose water that has no smell, no taste, no color into a pail of water, so we ask the question, if this 1 spoon of rose water, we replace it with vinegar, will it change the properties of the water? If you say that it does not change the properties of the water, so in that sense, we say that the water is still mutlaq, and this is by estimation. Clear, inshallah? So there is a difference between hissi and taqdiri. This is what the author is saying. So he says, كَمَاءِ الْوَرْدِ الْمُنْقَطِعِ رَائِحَةِ وَالْمَاءِ الْمُسْتَعْمَلِ. Ma al-musta'mal, that's what we mentioned. Ma musta'mal, it cannot be used for purification. It cannot be used for purification. Likewise, water that has changed in its properties, it cannot be used as purification. فَإِنْ لَمْ يَمْنَعْ إِطْلَاقَ إِسْمِ الْمَاءِ عَلَيْهِ بِأَنْ كَانَ تَغَيُّرُهُ بِالطَّاهِرِ يَسِيرًا أَوْ بِمَا يُوَافِقُ الْمَاءَ فِي صِفَاتِهِ وقدر مخالفا ولم يغيره فلا يسلب طهوريته فهو مطهر لغيره. Clear inshallah? All this we mentioned already. We spoke about. Is there any questions so far? The author is basically saying, and if the changes does not remove water from its original properties, then it is still tahur. It is still pure and can purify. But if the changes is a lot, then it is not considered to be mutlaq. This is basically what he's saying. Okay? Okay, now we continue from here. Yeah, all this we mentioned already. Yeah, this is just a new revision. Okay, we have come to the part where the author mentioned وَطُحْلُبٍ وَمَا فِي مَقَرِّهِ وَمَمَرِّهِ. This is where we stopped last week. Okay, so let me say this again. You see, we have this thing that is called makar and mamar. Makar and mamar. So the first example will be, if I make a clay pot, if I make a clay pot, a big clay pot, and I put water inside, after some time what happens? After some time the water changes color. Why? Because it is influenced by the clay. Because clay, when you make something out of clay, initially the remnants of clay is still present. So it mixes with the water. So now the question is, can we use the water for wudu? For example, the clay, the color is white. So when you put water into this clay pot, the water turns whitish. Can you use the water for ablution? The answer is yes. You can use. But earlier the author mentioned that if the properties change, you cannot use. Why in this situation you can use? This is forgiven. So there are certain things that are forgiven. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us. Exceptional case. This is the example of changes that is due to al-maqar. Maqar is the place where the water is kept. And then we have the next one is al-mamar. Mamar is the place that water moves. For example, this drainage. Last time they used to tap water from the river. So they put this bamboo. They tap water from the river. So sometimes the birds will hang out on the bamboo. So certain things fall on the bamboo. So it mixes with the water. The water is running, correct? If the bamboo is dirty, the water also becomes dirty. But this is also forgiven. This is the example of changes due to al-mamar, the flow of water. So changes due to the flow of water is forgiven. Changes due to the place where water is kept is also forgiven. So this is what the author says. I lost it in the page here. Okay. So he said, وَطُهْلُ بِن وَمَا فِي مَكَرِهِ وَمَمَرِهِ وَالْمُتَغَيِّرِ بِطُولِ الْمُكْسِ فَإِنَّهُ طَهُورٌ. And then we have the third thing. Something that changes due to long in its existence. For example, if you put a pail of water and then you leave it for 1 year. After 1 year, when you look at the water, what happens? Do you see any changes? You see some changes in the color, changes in the smell, changes in the taste. This is also forgiven because this is tulul muksi. This is the meaning of tulul muks, meaning it has been left for a long time. So the changes is forgiven. So changes that is the result of the container, changes that is result of the water flow, and changes that is the result of keeping it very long. All of this the author mentioned فَإِنَّهُ طَهُورٌ. This is the conclusion. What did the author say? He said فَإِنَّهُ طَهُورٌ. This is the conclusion. Yani he's saying tohlub, algae is forgiven. What is in the makarin is forgiven. What is in mamarin is forgiven. Water that has been staying for a long time is also forgiven. So this is the third type of water. Then the author mentioned wal qismu rabi'. Is there anyone who wants to read? Now he's going to speak about the fourth type of water. So we have already covered how many types? 3 types. Number 1 is what? Mutlaq. Number 2 is we spoke about mushammas. Number 3 is musta'mal. So the author mentioned water that changes in the properties carry the ruling of musta'mal, although it is not the same. Musta'mal and mutaghayyir are 2 different types, but they are placed under one banner, because at the end of the day they are tahirun ghairu mutahhir. They are pure but cannot purify. Is there any question so far? Everything clear? Okay. Can somebody read? Anyone wants to try? But when you read, must be louder a bit. One day I try to get the classroom. Yeah, because otherwise I cannot use any like whiteboard or anything. But inshallah. Anyway, this is the next week is Ramadan already, right? So next week we will be online. So this is the last week we will be here before coming of Ramadan. Okay, anybody wants to volunteer? It is good to practice. Practice reading. Wal qismu rabi'. Yani the fourth type. The author mentioned ma'u najisin. Ma'u najisin. So the fourth type is filthy water. So Sheikh bin Qasim explained, ay mutanajjisun. Mutanajjis. There is a difference between najis and mutanajjis. Najis is the essence of filth, whereas mutanajjis is something that is pure but influenced by filth. So there is a difference, and he's saying this is najis and this is mutanajjis. For example, urine is najis, meaning najis in the source. It comes from a source that is najis. But if you have a cloth where there is urine on it, you say this cloth is mutanajjis. Can you purify the cloth from the filth? Yes. So this is the difference between najis and mutanajjis. So Sheikh bin Qasim, he commented on this. He said, ay al mutanajjis. Yani what Sheikh bin Abu Shuja' mentioned, ma'u najisin. Because it is not wrong to say ma'un najisin, because it is mudaf ilayh. We are saying that there is najis in the water. So Shaykh Ibn Qasim mentioned this is mutanajjis. Wahuma kisman. He said there are two types. Ahaduhuma qalilun. The first one is qalil. Qalil a little. Later he will say what is little. وَهُوَ الَّذِي حَلَّتْ فِيهِ نَجَاسَةٌ. So he said water that is little where najis enters into it. Hallat. The meaning of hallat comes from the word halla yahullu. Halla yahullu hululan. Meaning to enter into something. We also have halla yahillu halalan. Halla yahillu halalan, meaning we say something is halal. But halla yahullu hululan, something that enters. So this difference between hulul and halal. Just now in Aqidah we spoke about the Aqidah of hulul. Last time we spoke about the idea of hulul. Some people they believe that God entered into something. In the knowledge of Aqidah we say this is kufr. This is hulul. But here linguistically it means something that enters. So the author mentioned water where najasa enters into it. Najasa enters. Hallat fihi najasa. Taghayyara amla. Whether it changes the properties or it does not change. And for example, I have a pail of water, one drop of urine fell into it. Does the one drop of urine change the properties of the water? When I look at the water in terms of the color no change, in terms of the taste no change, in terms of the smell also no change. But what do we say? And it is water can be used or cannot be used. Here the author is saying taghayyara amla, whether it changes any of the properties of the water or it does not change. It becomes mutanajjis automatically. Why? Because it is qalil. It is a little. Wa huwa ay wal halu ma'un dunal qullatayn. So now the author is speaking about what is the definition of qalil. So when the author mentioned wa huwa, the author say al hal. This is wawul hal. In Nahu we say waw al hal. Ja'a Zaidun wa huwa rakibun. Ja'a Zaidun wa huwa rakibun. Zaid came and he was riding. We say that the situation of the coming of Zaid is that he is riding. This is called al-hal. Yani you are describing a situation. Clear inshallah? So this is the thing about Fathul Qareeb. The author gives a lot of importance of the Arabic grammar. So that is why when we read any books in fiqh, we need to also understand Nahu. So that is why learning Arabic is very, very important. Because otherwise we cannot understand. So that is why you have to learn Arabic, no choice. If you learn only fiqh and other subjects but you don't have Arabic, you cannot be learned in Islam. Because there is a strong connection between language and the content of the knowledge. Ma'un dunal qullatayn. The author mentioned it is water that is less than qullataini. So what is qullatayn? This is based on the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Idza balagha al-ma'u qullatayn lam yahmilil khabath. When water reaches to qullah, it does not carry impurity in it. So our ulama, they research what is the meaning of tu qullah. So during the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what the Sahaba did is that they will build like like a place of wudu outside the masjid. So before they enter into the masjid, they will take wudu outside. So there is like a container outside in the masjid where they will take wudu. And there is another narration that says to qulla, like the qulla of the tribe of Hajar. There is an Arabian tribe in Medina where it is said the measurement of the qulla goes back to this tribe. So Al-Imam Shafi'i went to this tribe to look at their qulla. And this is what we get. In our mother Al-Imam Shafi'i, as what it is mentioned, it is 500 ratl Baghdadi, 500 ratl. But the thing about ratl is no more use in the world today. So today we have to translate into kilograms. So it is about 220 liters of water. You can do your own research. There are some differences amongst of the fuqaha pertaining to the meaning of qulla. So he says ma'un duna al-qullataini yustasna min hadha al-qismi al-maytatu allati la dama laha sa'ilun 'inda qatliha. Yani there is an exception in this. What is the exception? Because now the author is saying that any najis that fell into water that is little becomes mutanajis. The water becomes mutanajis. But there is an exception. What is the exception? What is the exception? The exception is the carcass, al-mayta. La dama laha sa'il. Where when you cut the animal, no blood comes out. No blood comes out. Is there any such animal? When you cut it, no blood comes out? No, I made a mistake. It's not that no blood comes out. No blood flows. But there is blood, but it does not flow. So animals, when you cut them, their blood does not flow. Like what? Any example? What is the type of animal that when you cut the body, the blood does not flow? Yeah? Yeah, like the fly. Azubab. When you cut a fly, the blood does not flow. Mosquito. The blood does not flow. But don't tell me there is blood. Of course there is blood. Correct? You kill a mosquito, is there blood or no blood? There is blood. But the question is, does the blood flow? If you slaughter a cat, does the blood flow? You think? We say this is a type of animal that blood flow. How about rats? Does blood flow? If you step on a rat, if you step on a rat until it dies, does the blood flow? If you cut the body, does the blood flow? How about lizard? When you cut open a lizard, does the blood flow or no flow? What do you think? The blood does not flow. So here the exception is that animals that the blood does not flow, it does not make the water mutanajis. Even in the qatliha, if you kill it in water. You kill it in the water. Because we have the hadith of Zubab. I do not know whether I have spoken about this. Hadith of Zubab. Where the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that if a fly enters into your drink, then you immerse it and remove it. And you can continue drinking. Betul Kak Salwa? This is a good question. The question is, why do we need to immerse it? Yeah, because for the fly, one part of the fly, there is the the disease, the germs. The other part any of the wings, any of the fly is the antidote. So it neutralizes the germs. It neutralizes the germs. And this is scientifically proven. And this is the mu'jizat of the Prophet ﷺ. How did the Prophet ﷺ know? That the fly, there are two types, the wings. He spoke about neutralization. But the fuqaha see from another angle. The fuqaha, when they look at the hadith of Zubab, they look it in many angles. They look at the fly. How can we do qiyas? Last time when you all study usul fiqh, qiyas, right? Qiyas, and we have to look at it for what? We have to look for the illah. What is the binding factor? So when the fuqaha look at the hadith of Zubab, they look at Zubab. Why Zubab? What is it in this Zubab that we can do an analogy? What is the binding factor? If you speak about the wings, okay, khalas, we say this specifically for Zubab. But the fuqaha do not speak about the wings. The doctors speak about the wings today, correct? The doctors make experiment to find out whether it is true or not true. But the fuqaha they are not really looking at the aspect of the mu'jizat. They are looking at the aspect of fiqh. So if the fly is an animal that does not contaminate water, what is the illah? This is what the faqih asks. What is the illah? What is the binding factor? If you can get the illah, you can do qiyas. If you cannot get the illah, no qiyas. So what is the binding factor? The binding factor is this. This is the qiyas. This is the illah. That la dama laha sa'il. Because the thing about the fly, la dama laha sa'il, that the blood does not flow. So once we find this illah, we say any animal whose blood does not flow carries the ruling of the fly. So if a lizard fell into your drink and poop, cabut, does your drink becomes contaminated? What do you think? No, the thing is whether you drink or don't drink is another question. But here we are speaking about whether it is mutanajis or not mutanajis. Because we have the choice to drink or not to drink, to eat or not to eat. You know there is something happened a few years ago. A person went to Morocco, I think, and then he went to the desert area. Desert area there's a lot of flies, okay? So while eating, a fly enter into like the soup. So one brother is saying, Alhamdulillah, we have the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet said that if the fly enters into your soup, you dip it and then you throw it. So he did that. Dip it, throw it. Then he continued eating. And the fly enters into another brother's soup. But the brother has doubt. How can we eat? Like, how we need to eat? So he also dip. And then he take out. But inside his heart, doubt. So you know what happened? One, he get food poisoning. The other person does not get any food poisoning. You understand? Sometimes, subhanallah, sometimes when the moral end of the story is that when it comes to the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it requires husnul zon. If you really believe, inshallah, then don't worry. But people who have doubt, it becomes a problem. But at the end of the day, is it wajib for you to eat? No. It's just a way out. Because you see, some people, they are miskin. If you tell them you have to throw away your food, they say, I got no more food. I only have one soup for the day. One fly enters into it. So this helps any poor people. But for rich people, any for example, they will choose any not to eat. But at the end of the day, we say that the water is not contaminated. Okay, inshallah. Likewise, sometimes when you drink something, there is ant. This is common, correct? No? Sometimes when you are drinking tea, then you found out that actually there is an ant inside. Can you continue drinking? How about ant? How do we understand any ant? Can ant be done any to ant? Cannot. If we say that the zubab, when you cut open the zubab, the blood does not flow. How about the ant? When you cut an ant, does blood flow or does not flow? It does not flow. So it takes the guling of the zubab. So you can remove the ant and continue drinking. Okay? Likewise, lizard. The lizard enters. It does not contaminate, meaning it does not cause the water to become mutanajis. But lizard sometimes is a different situation. Lizard is a bit scary. Okay. Now when we continue. Yeah. There is a hadith on lizard. To kill it with one blow. Because we must understand there are certain animals that is sunnah for us to kill. Sunnah. Why? Because it causes harm. It causes harm to people in the household. So there is a hadith pertaining to crows. You know these crows. Pertaining to rats. Because all these things can bring about diseases. Scorpions. If people are living in the villages, they have to make effort to kill all these things. Snakes. You cannot be living in a place there are snakes roaming around. You have to do something. Correct or not? Because it can lead to death. So they call it the khaba'is. These are the khaba'is. Or khawabis. Animals that cause what? Animals that cause poison, animal that cause harm. So there are certain animals we can kill. There are certain animals that you cannot kill. You cannot kill cats. You cannot kill dogs. Do you know that? Dogs cannot kill. Unless if the dog attacks others, causes harm, that dog you can kill. But normal dogs it cannot be killed. So Islam regard dogs as respected animals. All these things today it's important for us to learn also, because sometimes Muslims do not understand this. So dogs are considered to be respected animals. Cats are considered to be respected animals. But when it comes to rats, crows, scorpions, snakes, these are not respected animals. This one you study in the chapter of tayammum, correct or not? If you have water in Safidatul Najah, if you have water and a respected animal needs water, you have to give the water to the respected animal. Al-Hayawanul Muhtaram. You remember this? A respected animal. So a respected animal meaning animals that we cannot kill. So if you have any water and then you see a dog going to die out of thirst, you give the water to the dog. Dog, can you do tayammum? Yes, you can do tayammum. Because dog is a respected animal. But if you see an anaconda, misalan, an anaconda, no, cannot. It's dangerous, huh? Anaconda, you have to run for your life. So it's like that. Okay. So the author mentioned, la damalaha sa'ilun inda qatliha aw shaqqi udwin minha kadhubabi illam tutrah fihi. Yani the author mentioned that blood and it does not flow in the qatliha. When we kill the animal, the blood does not flow. Or we cut the body. Shaqi udwin minha. The word any shaq any meaning what? Meaning you cut open. So either when you kill the blood does not flow, or you cut the body the blood does not flow. Okay? Kazubab, like the zubab. Illam tutra fihi, if it is not any place any inside. Why any the author yani mentioned? This is a condition. The condition any is that it is not purposely placed inside. If you purposely throw a dead fly any inside water, it contaminates the water. So here there is a condition. The condition any is that it fell by itself. Then it's forgiven. Clear inshallah? So there are certain things and if you do it intentionally, it's not forgiven. If it happens unintentionally, it is forgiven. Walam tughayyirhu. The second condition is that it does not cause any change in the water. For example, if a dead fly enters into a cup of water and you leave it for 3 days, so what happens to the color? The color becomes, for example, black. Why the color becomes black? And because of the effect of the dead fly. This one we say this is mutanajis, because now it gives influence into the water. Clear inshallah? So the condition is that number one, it is not intentionally thrown into. Number two, it does not cause change into the water. If it is intentionally thrown into, it becomes mutanajis. If it changes the properties of the water, it becomes any mutanajis. وَكَذَا النَّجَاسَةُ الَّتِي لَا يُدْرِكُهَا الطَّرْفُ فَكُلٌّ مِّنْهُمَا لَا يَنْجُسُ الْمَائِعَ. Then the next thing the author mentioned, the exceptional case is the filth that cannot be seen by the eyes, meaning so small. And then you know that it enters into water. This is forgiven. La yudrikuha at-tarfu. At-tarf meaning al-ain. That the eyes cannot see. The eyes cannot see. So this is forgiven. An example will be sometimes when you have a pail of water inside the toilet and the cubicle. Sometimes the najis from the urine got into it, but you did not see it. But sometimes you see some ripples, but you cannot see any by your eyes. The najis you can see by us, but you are certain that it enters into the pail of water. Can you use the water for wudu? What do you think? You see the ripples, understand? But you don't see the najis. This is forgiven. This is forgiven. But again, if a person say, no, I got waswas, I don't want. You have a choice. If you have a lot of water, don't use. But for people who live in the desert, that is the only source of water. If you tell that to them, they will cry. Say, la ilaha illallah, this is our only source of water. You say, this is forgiven. Alhamdulillah. In the Maliki Mazhab, the most easiest in the chapter of water. In the Maliki Mazhab, they don't differentiate between water that is little and water that is a lot. What is important is that does the filth change the properties of the water? Does not change the properties of the water. That is why in the Maliki Madhab, mashallah, they can use any water. Even the filth enters into the water, no problem. I can still use any for wudu, as long as it doesn't change the properties of the water. And this is beneficial for people living in the desert. If you go to the Morocco region, you go to the Maghreb region, you go to Africa, a lot of them are Malikis. A lot of them are Malikis. And this is easy for them. But you go to this region, Malaysia, Indonesia, a lot of us are near Shafi'is. But the thing is that a lot of water is present in our place. But if you go to the Sahara Desert, if you are Shafi'i, mashallah, say, may Allah is any your affairs. If you happen to be in places where there are water scarcity, sometimes we are in need to follow the mazhab of Maliki. Al-Imam al-Haddad once in Hadramaut there was a famine, so there was no water. So some people then was asking him, is it permissible for us to do taqlid to the mazhab Imam Malik? Because mazhab Imam Malik, even any water, any musta'mal, no problem. But Imam al-Haddad, he said that because of the fear that I might go against the adab of our pious predecessors, I stick to mazhab Shafi'i. This Al-Imam al-Haddad. There is a famous and he saying, Al-Imam al-Haddad, and he doesn't do taqlid. Even in sometimes in difficulties, he chose to abide by the mazhab Shafi'i. Today, if you say that, people say you are extreme. But the reason he did so because of why? Because as ta'adduban, as an etiquette towards the scholars in the mazhab al-Imam Shafi'i. Sometimes some ulama anything like that. So that is why they do not like to do taqlid. But today, mashallah, everything fatwa shopping. Everything people can just pick and choose whatever they want from the internet. So that is why a lot of things becomes haywire. May Allah bless us with tawfiq. Is there any questions so far? Everything is clear? Yeah, of course. Animals that when you cut them, the blood does not flow. It applies to this. But at the same time also, animals that live in the sea is not applicable, because animals that live in the sea, they are considered to be pure. They are considered to be pure, because we have the hadith for that. But here we are speaking about land animals, not sea creatures. Okay, if there is no question, then we will stop here. So remind me, this is where we stop. La yanjusul ma'i'a. The author mentioned that if najis that cannot be seen by the eyes, it does not contaminate al-ma'i'. Al-ma'i' meaning liquid things, liquid. So there is a difference between al-ma' and ma'i'. Al-ma' is water, ma'i' is liquid. So when it comes into liquid, it does not contaminate. If it is a field that cannot be seen by the eyes. Wallahu a'lam bissawab. Sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi.